When I was growing up, I played a lot of video games, and in my catalog there were a few games that I spent a lot of time on, and I mean an extra amount of time, like a lot. The games with what seemed like endless replayability and freedom where you can do anything and never get bored. Games like Vice City with not only a long and interesting story, but plenty of hours spent just being a psychopathic evil bastard, killing everybody, running people down on the streets with your car, shooting up cops. At 5 years old, I turned out just fine, trust me. But anyway, two other games that I spent a lot of time on were the sandbox freedom of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 and the endless quest for that high score, and the fruitless attempt to play Through the Fire and Flames on Expert on Guitar Hero 3. Not only that, but I thoroughly enjoyed what I believe was one of the best 3D Spider-Man games, Spider-Man 1 on PS1. Those last three games I just mentioned were made by Neversoft, a company that doesn't even exist today. So today I'm answering the question, what happened to Neversoft? Well, Neversoft was founded in 1994, but didn't do anything notable until 1999, so let's just skip straight to that. So around that time, after seeing the success of Sega's Top Skater and EA's Street Skater, Activision wanted a piece of that pie, so they were in talks with another studio for a skateboarding game to be released, but it didn't pan out, so Activision decided to choose Neversoft to lead the charge for their own skateboarding game. The head developer even set up a half-pipe in his backyard and got all of his employees to learn how to skate and hire people who love skateboarding. They wanted everyone in the studio to be a part of that community so that the game would feel sincere and be legitimate to the fan base. And during development, Neversoft wanted a professional skateboarder to help with the production of the game and make sure it was quality and depicted skateboarding in the best way possible, and who better to do that than Tony Hawk himself, a very popular figure within skateboarding, to be the judge. They brought Tony on, who would play through the game builds, giving feedback, but also lending his name to the game franchise for extra publicity. Tony Hawk Pro Skater was released on August 31st, 1999 and was met with critical acclaim, reviewers calling it imaginative, deep, and amazingly addictive, and it was the third highest selling game of that year. The next year, Neversoft would not only continue their Tony Hawk Pro Skater series, but hit us with one of my all-time favorites as a child, SpiderMan. I really loved this one as a kid. It had a very original story, very interesting dynamic with Venom and all the supervillains.
Who could have wanted to steal Octavius' technology?
Ooh, we know!
Who?
The Submariner.
Submariner? Get serious, will you?
The Mighty Thor.
Are you out of your mind? Don't answer that.
And the Doc Ock Carnage mix, and one of the most butt-clenching final levels that I ever played. The game sold well to critical acclaim and really makes me wish they made a sequel to the game, which technically they did, but it was made by different people, and they removed a lot of things that made the first one great. But I would definitely love to do a video all about Spider-Man PS1, so leave a like and comment if you want me to do that. But anyway, on the same engine, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 was developed, and they added new things like a level editor, character customization, and manuals, and you could even play as Spider-Man with his own special moveset. So for the sake of time, let's fast forward a little bit to 2002. In Pro Skater 4, they ditched the time trials and career mode, and made it more about free skating and exploring the level. This was my personal favorite as a kid, and then would go on to release a bunch more Tony Hawk games, some better than others. So after 8 years of Tony Hawk games, Activision purchased the Guitar Hero franchise. Red Octane just made Guitar Hero 1 and 2, which were extremely popular, so Activision handed the reins over to Neversoft, who would create Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock, the best-selling game in history at the time, and it actually was the first game to sell $1 billion in sales. They would go on to develop 7 more Guitar Hero games in the next 3 years, and this marked the beginning of the end for Neversoft. In 2010, Neversoft released their last Guitar Hero game, Warriors of Rock, and the fan base and market was shrinking, and it was time to move on. Neversoft created 2 of the biggest franchises, and we're proud of what they built in all those years. Their games were never really bad, but times changed, the market's interest shifted in other directions, and only so much innovation could be done with skateboarding and hitting notes on a screen. So from 2010 to 2013, Neversoft wouldn't get any new projects, but instead they would be tasked with assisting Infinity Ward with Modern Warfare 3 and Call of Duty Ghosts. Neversoft essentially filled the gaps of Infinity Ward because in 2010 there was this huge falling out between Infinity Ward founders and Activision, which led to half of Infinity Ward leaving to form Respawn Entertainment, the people who made Titanfall and the recent hit Apex Legends. So by 2014, the studio had reached its 20-year birthday, and with the retirement of their head developers, Neversoft officially rode into the sunset on July 10th, 2014. Their final goodbye was similar to a Norse funeral, where they burned the Neversoft logo to the ground in a way of honoring their past and looking forward to the future, with the remainder of the employees merging into Infinity Ward, and the company was officially closed. From the video that the Neversoft employees filmed themselves, they seemed happy, they were proud of what they created, and it was time to move on. That was over 5 years ago. Now there's a lot of bad press around Activision, so I don't know how those guys are faring today. There was a bunch of layoffs, but those were only at esport jobs, I believe, so their jobs should be safe. But anyway, Leave a comment on what you want me to do next. Leave a like if you liked the video. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'm Ron from GameYak. Peace.